met you halo down. You gave me fever. No need to tell me all. Your eyes I always remember. I wrote you on and on. You never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you. Take care of you. Take care of you. You on and on. You never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well, having a wonderful Friday evening if you're in North America, and if you're in Asia or anywhere other in other time zones, good morning. It's a Saturday for you. And I'm really excited to be here today to talk about this build because essentially, if you guys are new here, I do these weekly segments to try to build a new system together with everybody that solves some kind of need for someone in the community. Sometimes it's building a new template on Notion, sometimes it's building a new, system on some other tool. But today is actually one of our creative days. We started something a few weeks ago that seemed to play off really well with some of our community members, which is giving us a day to work on something that we're creatively passionate about. In this case, maybe it's building a new website for yourself, building a new personal portfolio website, or something for your side hustle. But really spending that time to work on something that's going to benefit you in the long term and help you express yourself creatively. So even if you're not very well versed in the tools that we use for this build, for example, Webflow, mostly we build on Notion, that's perfectly okay. If you want to build something to work on your website, whether it's on Squarespace, whether it's on Wix, whether it's on any of the other builders out there, WordPress even, feel free to join us along. We want to give you a challenge. If you can work on your projects for even 1 hour every week, We think that's something really, really fun, really, really good. So do join us for that. But in any case, for anybody who's watching to learn specifically how we do something cool in Webflow, this is actually going to be a very, very intuitive an innovative live stream for you. Essentially, what I'll be doing is using Webflow's collection list, its built-in feature, to make a very interactive diagram that helps you narrow down on specific, feature sets within products that you have on your e-commerce sites. And it will be very applicable for people who are even like chefs, for example. You might have recipe lists, and you might want to have a page that shows, hey, these are all the ingredients that you can find recipe lists. And if you have this specific ingredients, for example, carrots, what recipes can I build with this, right? What recipes can I use? You'll get it as we go along. It's going to be pretty interesting, but essentially, if you want to level up your skill with something called collection lists on Webflow, or just be better management or have better management of your content in general, this is the stream to watch, and we'll be building this live. So definitely welcome to the stream. All right, let's get straight into it. I normally like to start off my streams by talking about the why, what, and hows, just really breaking down and helping you understand if this stream is useful for you, if the content will be useful for you. So the first question is, why are we building this? What is why have an interactive content diagram, or even level up our skill in collection lists? What's going to happen here? Well, basically, our users on our for our toolbox want to know what specifically they will be getting in each system package. For those who are unfamiliar with CoX3 and what we do, let me just give you a quick rundown of our toolbox just to help you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So we have a very new toolbox website. We built this live actually a few weeks ago. If you want to watch how we did that, just check out the live stream then. But basically, and we built this in 2 hours, by the way. So it's not something that anyone can't do. It's very, very simple. Just watch the live stream and you'll get it. But essentially what we did was to put together a website that showed all the different systems that we built as a community to help different people level up in different ways. One way is being intentional, making sure that you're organized and that your efforts lead you to the success that you're looking for, right? Having a meaningful life, a more meaningful life, by knowing exactly where you're going and how you're getting there. And then also making work fun, right? Making life a little more exciting and more engaging, so we have fun while we're going on this journey, while we're adventuring, and hopefully finding parties or partners along the way. So those are some of the systems that we have. I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of our community members, or especially our newer ones, really want to know exactly what systems they were going to get when they got one of these packages. And we used to have something quite complex that was available. Let me actually open that to see if I can show that up. But we used to have something quite complex, like a giant flowchart diagram. It's like, oh, this system is involved in this package, but it was quite complex, and it was, again, not interactive by any stretch of the imagination. So it was quite difficult to use that as a way to, primarily showcase what we have. Actually, give me a quick second. I will try to open it on Whimsical and see if this can open up properly, and I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead here. I believe this is publicly openable, so let's go ahead and open that in New Link. Let's open that right here. Perfect. So you can see that it's quite complex. It's not easy to read or see by any stretch of the imagination, but it gives you a really good breakdown of exactly what system is within which section of the system, or which databases rather are in which section of the system, and what benefits they provide. And I thought to myself that there would be a very interesting opportunity if we can make that into a interactive diagram that people can click around on our website and then eventually be able to get directed to the right package for them. So how I'm going to go about this, right? Or actually, first, what I'm going to have. So it's going to be a Webflow collection list that uh, on a interactive page. Okay, and then how that's going to work is basically we're going to have a dynamic page that lets users filter out what databases they're interested in. And okay, dynamic. And then we're also going to have um, a search function, which will be bonus if we can get to that. I think we can, but just in case, we'll add as a bonus just in case we get a chance. More whys. I think there's some whys what they'll be getting. And then we have also give users a chance to have a 360-degree outlook on the benefits they can expect, what databases specifically they'll be getting, 360-degree outlook on the benefits they can expect. And then actually we can have a bonus here that's integration with our change log, so you can see exactly what we're looking to improve next and what has been updated recently. So that's something that we're also going to work on later on. Hey Michael, good to see you as well. And hey Anne, welcome, welcome. So yeah, so let's start to build. And again, if you are here just to make sure that you want to work on your passion, if you want to work on your website, feel free to do that. So keep us in the background, listen in from time to time. I'll be sharing little drops of nuggets of knowledge from here and there. So definitely do keep your ears peeled. But without further ado, let's get on building. Let's start seeing how this works. Let's learn about collection lists. So first thing I'm going to do in here is make a brand new page in Webflow. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to make a new page. And normally I would take an existing page and then revamp it, but because this page is going to be pretty brand new, I'm going to just make a brand new page and see where we can go from there. So I'm going to go make a brand new page. And then I'm just going to call this one, maybe let's call this comparison. Let's just call it comparison. And I'm just going to create it. Later on, we'll add everything in here, like the meta tags and all that. So we don't worry about it right now. I'm going to go and grab something from our homepage though. I want to get our tab system just because I know that it'll be difficult to build that from scratch. So I'm just going to take this whole thing, copy that, and I believe I should be able to paste it over. Let's see. So we're going to go over and find the comparison page. We're going to find this body. We're going to paste it just like so. Perfect. And we can see that that's just a container, right? So we might want to add a section just to make this a bit more pretty. So I'm going to also go ahead and grab the section itself, not just that comparison section. So let's go ahead back to home. And then I will grab the section for this. Okay, so actually there is no section, so that's fine. Let's add section's right here actually, there we go. And then we can go right back to comparison. I'm going to delete this container and instead just paste the whole section in so we have a nice little padding from top to bottom. So it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so let's put a comparison diagram. We're going to call this something better later, I'm sure. But for now, let's find this as a comparison diagram. And then what I want to do first is so right now this collection list, basically what happens is on Webflow, you can have blocks that call from your collection list and display a whole, like whatever template you have. In this case, this is like this card, right? It can show all the different items that are already inside that collection list that are available. So for example, right now this is pulling from the products collection list, or rather the products from the e-commerce side, and therefore it's showing all of this, but instead I want to show something that I'm custom making. So let's go to CMS collections. There's some standard things here that they've created. We're going to ignore that for a second. and I'm going to just make a new collection list, and let's call this databases. Databases sounds right here. So databases. And then in the database, we're going to want to specify, quite a few things, right? We have the name of the database, the slug, which is basically just the URL that we're going to find this database at if we want to add more information. And the spoiler, we will be adding more information there. But I was also thinking about like, okay, what else would be interesting for people to know? Well, definitely which product it relates to, right? So which product it relates to. So if we add a new custom, I just want to show you how that works. I can reference something. So I can reference collection, but what happens is I can't reference it this way. I have to reference it the other way around. So I have to reference it from my e-commerce side into here, but I'll talk about that in a second. You don't have to worry about this too much. But basically, I'll be referencing you can think about like relational databases, right? Like if you are familiar with Notion, basically we're going to have a product that's going to relate to here. And actually, I will show that once I save this collection. So let's open this new collection and then let's save this first. But I want to just show you, like if I go inside our cart here, and then I go into our products, I can actually go inside and say, like, for example, inside Be Intentional, I can even add one more connection to that collection list. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead, go settings, and then I'm going to add a new field here. So that's a new field. This one's going to be a reference field, and it's going to reference our collection for our okay, it's not up yet because we haven't published it. So let's go ahead and publish that first. So we're going to go here and we have databases. Let's add a new database for a second. Let's call this success plan. And then we're going to create this. And then we're going to just hit publish so that we can have all this ready to connect. So let's go ahead and hit publish. Publish this for now. And then we can go back into our products and then make that relation just so that we can have that early to start. So we're going to have our products here, and then we're going to go back into here. We're going to go ahead and again go back and put settings and then make that relation. So right here we have a reference, and then we're going to reference our databases. There we go. And then this is going to be databases included. And this is useful later on too, because we're going to go back into the product page and also add a little section to show all the different databases just so that people can read more into it if they need to. So perfect. So back to this, we have our databases. So we want to first reference the databases here, but we can already see that we probably want a bit more. We want to add a description. So let's add a description as well, and then we can go from here. So let's add description. So plain text description. And then we're going to just save. I think this is fine. And then we're going to save this collection. And now for success plan, we can add a little description for it. Let's see if we already have a description for this. If not, we can make one. But I believe in our Academy page, right, which is one of our resource pages, we would already have something like that. So let's go Be Intentional. Let's figure out our success plan. Perfect. And it's break down the whys, what, and how behind the success you want. And that's awesome. Let's go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go back into our page, and now let's change this this collection list that's referencing right now from products into our template itself. So let's go ahead and change everything. So image, I'm going to just untag that so it doesn't get image from anywhere. Page current product, that's fine actually. This one is going to be, I need to change the source, so let's go ahead and do that. So page, maybe let's do none for now. Page none, and then we go ahead here so we can take away the. So normally this shows a locked if there's still something downstream that is relating to the item, and I want to see what exactly it is, and it seems like it's because of the card content. So let's not get the text. Let's not get the paragraph. So as little information as possible. Let's also take out the level wrapper. I believe the level wrapper is already gone, so I'm just gonna delete that. That doesn't matter anymore. The card price here, this is going to also need to get rid of. So, and then the compare at price also needs to get rid of. Perfect. So what we want to do is just basically strip this down to parts, and that's what we're doing here. So now you can see I can change the collection into our category of databases, which is much better. And now I can re-link everything. So title obviously should link to the name of the item. The paragraph should link to the description of the item. So you can see it's already adding in all this stuff perfectly. Now, this is the time we start thinking about where the rest of this connects to. So what we'd want here also is to have some sort of filter, right? That filters out specifically all the things that you can find inside our, like if I use this tab system as a way to filter out, right? I guess this would be all. So this is all databases, right? So let's change this to all databases. And I'm going to remove some of the other stuff. So we don't need this tooltip as well. So let's remove this tooltip. Let's go ahead and take this away. So we have all databases, and maybe this will be databases found only in Be Intentional. This is databases only found in Gamify Your Life. Okay, and then later on we'll add even more of that auxiliary stuff, but for now, let's just focus on this. So we have all databases, so this should show everything. And ideally, I'm thinking that I can also have a quick link here to directly go to the package that it relates to if and so the person chooses. And I'm also thinking that the image probably isn't needed to be here. We probably don't need an image, but let's just see if there's a none. Okay, no. So I'm probably just going to delete this image section because I don't think we need it at all. So let's go ahead and delete this whole image section. And what will be cool actually is just removing this whole thing for now. So let's just hide this for now. We might want in the future, so I don't want to just delete it so willy-nilly. One thing that I like to do is I just make a new tag, a new selector called hide, and I just can click this hide button and then it just goes away. So it makes it really simple for us. And then I'm actually going to keep this paragraph just in case I might want to add something in there later. But for now, let's just see how this works. So we have success plan, break down the how, why, and what, and then we might also want this to reference what template or what package it specifically belongs to if people want to know. So I'm going to go ahead and check on the collection list and see if I have a way to reference the products, because it seems like I can do it the other way around, but I can't connect it back into it. So I want to just make sure that this works. So what I want to do then, because I can't reference it to the product itself, like I can't do it in a reverse manner, I might want to just make this into a multi-select or change this to a multi-reference that references to yeah, I can't do this like this. Oh, I can actually products. Here we go. It does work. So I can reference the other way around. That's perfect. So what I want to do here then is I want to reference the products. So packages included in. So I'm going to save this. Let's just see how this works. I want to make sure it does work as I expect it. I'm going to success plan and I can, oh, this is beautiful. So I can include it in Be Intentional and Gamify Your Life. Now, you're already going to see an immediate problem, which if I start referencing it. So let me show you what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to duplicate this class just in case I might want to make changes to it. So I'm going to call this one, let's call this one pack included in. Let's just do that for now. And then I'm going to remove this one right there because I don't need that. And I'm just going to put this right there. Perfect. And then I don't think we even need this wrapper. I'm just going to delete this wrapper. So we don't need this one. So all we need to do is now reference this, right? Well, you're going to see that if I just reference this, there's going to be something interesting that happens. So let's reference the information. So right now it's already not showing me what I want to see because I haven't published the page yet. So again, always make sure you publish it just so that we have all this information ready to go. So I'm going to just publish this, which I have to do from here. So I published this page completely. And then we can see that we should be able to reference it. If not, we'll just play around and see what else we need to tweak. So get text. Okay, so it's already not working well because this is a normal text box. I believe we need a rich text. So let me just double check that. Let me just throw in a random rich text and let's see if that works. I'm just going to use a rich text block here. And let's see what happens. I'm just curious. Okay, rich text block doesn't work either. So let's troubleshoot this a little bit for a second. Let's see why this is the case. Let's go ahead here. I'm still not able to see that that's a collection. So let's play around with this a little bit. So a good thing right now that's happening is that I'm coming across a problem and I can show you how to resolve it, right? Or at least my thought process behind how I resolve certain problems. So right now we have a multi-reference here that seems to be that's referencing our products that seems to not be able to show up inside our page. So let's go ahead and search that for a second, right? Webflow multi-reference. I want to search Webflow multi-reference. And I think the process that we're doing right now is called cannot get text. Cannot get text from Webflow multi-reference. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what they're doing. So it can only reference things inside this collection list, so it can't go multiple levels deep. Let's see what's happening. They're saying that it's because you're going deep. So let's see a bit more why that's happening. So, okay, so that's not what I want. That's obviously a problem. Okay, no, that's something that's not there. Ooh, interesting. I need a collection list inside. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, we've solved it. So we need to add a new thing. We need to add a new collections list inside here. So I just need to add a new collections list. Let's see. Perfect. And then if I have that right at the bottom here, I can actually have this collection list right inside this page, I believe. Right inside this collection item, right inside here. Okay. Cool. So this is a nested collection list. So that's actually really, really interesting. Let's see how this works out, okay? So let's go ahead and put this in here. Okay, I need to connect this first. Let's connect this. So I'm going to have this source included in, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this inside this collection item. And then we're going to get the text. We're going to grab it from our product name. And perfect. So now it's already showing that you can grab it from either Be Intentional or Gamify Your Life. That's really cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little bit of formatting because right now it's looking a bit iffy, right? We want to make this as formatted well as possible. So let's go ahead and find out what we need to do to make this work. So we have our card content here. We probably want this inside our card content. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it's because we don't want it within that link. Okay, so what we want to do then is just to make sure that this link ends up playing nice with everything else. So let's go ahead and figure out what this card content is. We're probably going to duplicate this card content. Let's just double check. Okay, perfect. Let's duplicate this card content. And then what we want to do is take away Ooh, I pasted it twice, I believe. Yeah. So we're going to take it out of there, and then we're going to put this inside this card contents. We're going to take out this title, this paragraph, this divider. This divider can also live now in here. And then now we have some extra space on the bottom. So let's go ahead and see how we can resolve that. So some extra space in the bottom there. Let's see why that is the case. It's because this card content has extra padding at the top as well. Okay, so let's call this, instead of card content, let's call this one the card footer. Okay, and then card footer will have no padding here, so 0. And then we're also going to want to make sure that there's additional space in the bottom. So let's go ahead and just mess around with the CSS just for a little bit, and just to make this as styled as best as we can, and then we can move on, shall we? But for now, let's just quickly change this. So what we want is definitely some padding on the bottom here. So 10 maybe is a good padding. We definitely want to fix this spacing. We still have too much spacing here. So let's go ahead and just adjust that a little bit. So card footer is like that. So it's this section here. That's fine. We have additional space like right there. I'm trying to figure out where that's from. So additional space like right here. So is it from the divider? It's from the divider. Okay, so I'm going to add one more thing for this called divider. If it's inside the footer, then that made it different. So we want this divider right there, and we want to take away this spacing at the top. So let's go ahead and duplicate this in some way. Let's see. So divider, I want to duplicate this, or at least I want to add a new thing. So let's just try again. Inside footer. And I'm going to take away the margin top. Let's go 0. I'm going to take away this margin as well. Let's put that. But now we lost that completely. It's so interesting. Whenever you're working with multiple selectors inside Webflow, it's always very interesting. We got to figure out exactly what happens here. It's no big deal though. I think it's totally fine in this situation, just because we can probably just even remove that divider, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't think it's completely necessary for us, but let me just play around with it for a quick second. I think we can solve this. We just need to duplicate one of these classes. So I'm going to remove this this class for a second. Okay, I got it. So I just need to add footer here. Perfect. Or maybe I don't call it footer, I call it something else. I call this one divider in footer. Yeah, okay. It was the footer class that messed it up a little bit. So if I remember correctly, this is like 32 or something. And then we don't need to have this spacing in the top here. So card content. And then we're going to duplicate this class. So we're going to say this is database content. And then we're going to take this to be 20, and then it's already looking really, really nice, right? You can see that it's already shaping up really well. And then we're going to start working on the interactive parts of this diagram. Again, the building blocks are important. That's why I'm spending time on this, but it's for you to kind of customize and build your own when you later want to revamp this as well. Okay, cool. So we have this as our main database content, and of course we'll improve this as time goes on, but it's time for us to start making this into, or start expanding this rather. Okay, so what we want to do here, and let me just tweak this a little bit more. Okay, perfect. What we want to do here, what I'm envisioning is that we will have this interactive diagram that you can go and filter out as I go between different tabs. So as I go into these different tabs, I'll be able to see exactly which different, exactly all the ones that I fit inside Be Intentional, all the ones that fit inside Gamify Your Life, and etc., etc., etc. Like, that's going to be very, very important for us. So what we want to do here then is to make sure that as things scale up, they still look good. And we also would like this to be not just grouping in terms of the tags later on, in terms of the tabs that we start changing different tabs, but also it will be quite nice if we can group them also within here. So for example, if we have them in the be intentional category, can they be sorted as such? Can they be included in the same section? Can we wrap them in a different div? Like the possibilities are quite endless here, and I want to just make sure we explore the full potential of that. So let's go back into the databases, right? Let's go ahead and add just one or two more examples, just because we need to make sure that we have enough test cases. And let's put a few examples that still work in both. So daily quest is something that we heavily invest in. So daily quest is something that's really important to us. So let's go ahead and find daily quests. Let's go ahead and use this description in daily quest as well. So daily quest, and this is included in the be intentional, gamify your life. Cool. Let's save that. Let's see how that works. I go back here and look, another one is already popped up. We'll work on the wordings to make sure that they don't cut off each other later on. But I just really want to see like what can we do with this? Like how crazy can we get? So one thing that I'm trying to see first of all is if I add a few more. Let's add one more that's specifically only in gamify your life, right? Or maybe only in be intentional. So let's go ahead to databases. Let's add one more. Let's add one more for both. So areas of competence. Competence is something that, again, we care about a lot. And we can go inside here, grab that. Oops, that's a link. I want this. Areas of competence, description for that. And it's inside our be intentional. So let's save that. And another one we're going to add is going to be our leaderboard. And then this one is going to be multiplayer for personal development. And this is going to be gamify your life. We'll make those descriptions more beautiful later on. And we can already see that if things are too short, they start playing a bit weird. So we probably want to make sure that this is going to be full width no matter what. So let's go ahead and build that. So this should be 100% no matter what. Let's go 100% width no matter what. That's not working. Let's see why. It's because this link is already 100%. Let's see, 100%, 100%, I believe. This needs to be 100%. Let's go ahead and what happens if I make this 100 pixels? Okay, that does do what I expect. So 100% still somehow doesn't take up this whole space. That's very, very interesting. No worry. It's not realistic that we have only one line in there anyways. So we can make this into a bit more wordy stuff. So let's go into leaderboard and let's add some lorem ipsum. So lorem ipsum. Let's go ahead and get some of that. So I'm going to grab some dummy text. Let's grab that into here, save that. I think this one might be a bit long. It is. So let's just grab enough of that. So much. Let's go ahead and take up to here. Perfect. So we just wanted to have that up and going just so that we can see all these different databases. So what we can do, at least to begin with, just for a little bit of fun, is we can start changing the background color. So if we can change the background color based on the template. Now that's not something that's super exciting, but what we can do is we can do a sort order instead. So we can do a sort order, and we can say that it's sorting on the I think I already know what to do here. I can do a sort that basically has our, so if I do manual sorting, okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do and then you guys will see it. So I'm adding a field. I'm going to call this sort and it's going to be a number. And essentially this number is going to help us sort this into sort however we'd like. So as an example, if we want areas of competence to be the first one, we could put 1 as number 1, right? If we want then success plan to be number 2, like that, and so on and so forth. So we have success plan number 2, daily quest number 3, and then we have leaderboard number 4. So what happens here then is if I do a sort by the sort number, smallest to largest, then it will specifically sort depending on how I want it, right? So areas of competence first, success plan next, daily quest next, leaderboard next. And what I can do is from now on, anything that is inside that's included in be intentional, I can also make that into its I can also group them together, which is going to be pretty important later on. Now, again, I promised dynamic, I promised interactive. So let's figure out what more things we can do to make this interactive. Again, I really like the whole approach of being able to group things like this. So if I am able to group a whole section together, and as I hover over it or something like that, get like the different benefits that it belongs to, that would be something really, really cool that I want to do. So let's spend the rest of our time trying to do that, because we already know how to do the filtering. If you guys are not familiar with that, let me just show you. The filtering is really, really simple. So I'm going to take this whole system wrapper thing. I'm going to take this and I'm going to switch into our second tab, and I'm going to just remove some of these placeholder contents that we have. And then I'm going to go ahead and paste this inside the second tab. So let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, okay, I already know. That's pretty interesting, actually. So what it's complaining about right now is that for this nested collection tab, we can only have that one per page. And it kind of makes sense because when we go into this specific tab, I don't need to know what other template it belongs to, right? That actually makes perfect sense to me. So how I can solve that problem, I believe, is I can just copy and paste it without this. So let's go ahead and take out this collection list for a second here. So I'm going to take away this collection list. I'm going to probably just remove this completely. I'm trying to think of the best ways I don't have to reproduce my work later. Collection list wrapper is no tag. Okay, if I just cut this, what happens? I'm just gonna cut this. And then I want to duplicate this into the second tab pane. So I'm going to duplicate this and drag this into here. So that's already there. And then I'm going to go back into my card footer, paste it back in, and ta-da, it's there. If I go to tab pane 2, ta-da, that's there as well. Perfect. So just like that, I duplicated it across and it works. So right now what I can do here, just to show you that it does work, at least the basic functionalities of this, is I want to go to the system wrapper here, and then I want to go ahead and filter where the included in contains be intentional. Save. And then you can see these are all the ones that belong in be intentional. Awesome stuff, right? And I'm going to add some lorem ipsum. Excuse me. I'm going to add some lorem ipsum here as well, just so that we can have that nicely planned out. So lorem ipsum, that's just a placeholder text. Go back to 1, and then we can go ahead and put that there. Awesome. So we're already seeing that filtering is not a problem. And if you want this, you can have this on the side, you can have this on the top. It's really up to you. I'm just showing you different ways of presenting this. But we already have some sort of like, let me just show you. So if I go into here, I can start changing, like it already looks good. We can do some animations in the future to like show like, hey, this is still there, but it's just getting rearranged. The thing itself disappears instead of the whole thing disappearing. Like all those things can be things that we build. But for now, we also I wanted to change the background color here, but I don't think that would be as impressive as like if we were able to do like a proper box around it. So let me think about it for a second and think about how to do this in Webflow, and then let's see if this works. So what will be confusing is if you're both gamify your life and be intentional, right? Because even if we do the background color, then you'd have two background colors in here. So that doesn't work exactly. Um, what could be really cool is if we can have, oh, you know what would be interesting here actually is instead of showing this whole thing, we can have this in the top right or something, and then just show like the icons itself. I think that could be really cool actually. That could be already really, really cool. And I'm also just trying to think about how to present the benefits as well. Okay, let's do this one at a time. So since we have an icon here, what we can do is we can actually limit the visibility of this. Let me just take a look. Or we can probably truncate out the first bit of only the first character of this. So I'll show you how that works. There's going to be custom code involved in this. So that's actually pretty fun. So let's take this, include it in, right? And let's put it at the top of this item instead, because I think this will be quite important for us. So let's go ahead and move this to the top. Again, we can't have it in a link, so we can only do it like so. But what we want to do is to make this into a, so let's call this the card footer. Again, we'll rename this tag. It's not in the bottom anymore. Let's call this card footer for a second. Card footer. And then I'm going to just remove this card footer, and I'm going to have, what am I doing? I need to go into this card footer. Let's rename this for now so I don't forget what's supposed to be. So let's call this actually card card top right. Let's just call it that for now. And then what we want to do here is we want to make this an absolute position. We want to put this to the right side of this. So let's go ahead and put it absolutely to the right, just like that. And then what we want to do is take away some of the padding, which doesn't really matter because it's not going to show up anyway. But what we want to do here is just to make sure that it actually wraps itself to the right. And I'll show you again what that means, but I'm being a bit weird here. So let's wrap this instead. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Don't wrap. I want this to be a vertical direction. And I believe if we have this collection list, I can flex box, I can do this. It's also going to be flex. Okay. First, let's only show the emoji, and I want to show you how that works. And this is going to be a custom coding part of this tutorial. I think it'll be pretty interesting. So what we can do here is we can add a new tag specifically on here. So included in. So I want to have included in cut only the first, only show the first emoji or the first two characters. So let's go ahead and find some code to do that, right? So custom CSS code to, or I think it's JavaScript code. Let me just double check that. So if I go back to the dashboard, I already have some other custom code examples that I can show you. So let's go and do show here, custom code. So I already had some custom code. Oh, that is not here. Let's see. There's a truncate code I used to have somewhere. Where is that? Let me go find that for a second. I believe I had that in here. So let's go to settings, custom code. Okay. So we had a style tag. So I'm going to grab this and go back to this new project. So go to custom code, and then I'm going to throw in a style. And again, the style that we just had was going to be not truncate title, but it's going to be, actually we should add something called truncate product emoji maybe. Truncate product. And then what we want to do here now is inside our code, we want to have that dot truncate product. And then what we want to do is find the code to custom CSS to show only first character. I think that can work. Let's see, we need to show the first thing, the visibility. No, doesn't work. Oh, that's showing the first letter. That's so interesting. Um, color transparent. That's interesting. So I think this truncate is actually pretty interesting. It might not work exactly as we want it because they're still present. Yeah, they use visibility and color tricks to hide the other stuff, but the other stuff is still there, which means that it's still going to show up in the page. Okay, so I think instead of doing JavaScript, oops, let's not do this. So I'm backtracking on what we're going to do here. Instead, let's just make this into a proper, inside the product itself, let's just add a new field for the emoji itself. I think that's probably the best thing we can do. Later on, we can even make that an image, but for now, let's just make it an emoji. So let's call this our emoji. And then we can go ahead and make this required, I think. And then we can save this, save collection. And if I go into be intentional, actually, let's move that emoji thing way up to the top so we can see this earlier. So we can go to emoji at the top here, save our collection. And then if I go into be intentional, I can see our emoji, and then we can add our emoji for a target here. And then we can save that. We can add an emoji for our gamify our life. So it's an alien. And definitely in the future, we're going to make this into a proper icon. So later on, we can do that. But for now, let's go ahead and just completely delete this class because we don't need it. So if I Control Z, does this delete this automatically? No. Oh, it does. Perfect. And then what I want to do here is grab the text is instead of grabbing this information, I'm actually grabbing the emoji. And perfect. So you can see that it's playing not so nice just a little bit because it's wrapping downwards. So what we want to do is make sure that it stays on the same line. So this is coming into some of the CSS stuff that we can play around with just to show you a little bit. Normally what you can do is flexbox that lays it all out within a vertical axis. So let's see that. If we change it horizontal to vertical, nothing really happens. So we gotta understand why. We're going to justify this a little bit. We are going to add some padding at the top. So add 10 at the top and 10 at the bottom. That's perfectly fine. But what we want to do is see exactly what's happening here. I believe the issue is because this is not a flex box. So if we do a vertical flex box here, let's wrap this. No, let's not wrap this. Let's see what happens. So we have this here. This is going to be laid out like this, wrap. Nope, that's not what I want. So let's see. So right now we have this thing that's wrapping vertically still. So what happens if I just make it inline block? Okay, so inline block works. So let's go ahead and just do inline block because that just makes it into on one line. And what we can do here is we can just add a little padding to the left of these items so that it shows just a little bit more. So we add a padding, we add 5. Perfect. So now we have this little thing that shows like what is included in. And later on, if we really want to, we can even add like a link here that links it to that specific product. Actually, let's just do that now just to show you that it does work. So if I add a link now, so that's a link block right above the included in, and I just drag that into there. In this link block, I should be able to link to a specific page for the current product. So let's just view this. If I hover over that, it can link me to the Be Intentional page or the Gamify Life page, which is really perfect for me. If I change this around, I can just see the specific one. So let's actually fix that as well in the second tab. So I can just hide the bottom part. So let's go ahead, take this. In the card, I'm removing the card footer because we don't need that anymore. And then we can already go back and just compare stuff. So if I go into here, we can already see that it's starting to look pretty good in terms of dynamic ability. So I can already switch back and forth. And yeah, so let's think about the last implementation before we end this stream. I think it'll be interesting. So Anne had a good idea, which was doing 3 different colors, especially if you have something that's going to be mixed. I'm just not seeing that right now because I'm debating whether or not this should be. I'm debating whether or not this should have a. I still really want that like grouping idea. I don't think it'll be possible because if I switch to Be Intentional, I'm already going to lose that grouping ability. So that might not be the best thing to do. Hmm. It's interesting. I'm trying to think of the best way to handle this. Okay, for now, let's be happy with what we have because I think it is pretty good already to have these icons in the top right and already being able to be linkable. So something that I think might be more interesting now is how will the specific page look? So what I mean by that is right now, if I have this page, I have this collection list, this link block. Oops. So I need to make a link inside this. So right now, I believe if I just click this, nothing happens. So let's go ahead and make sure that it does go somewhere. So this link needs to open up the current database. And if I open it up right now, it should show like a nice blank page. It should show nothing because I haven't built that page just yet. So let's go ahead and build this page because I think it'll be important. And I think I can just borrow a page from something that we have. So not the events page, but let's find the blog post page perhaps. Okay, yeah, let's just pull this whole thing. So let's take this whole section and then I'm going to take this whole section. Let's see what happens there. So if I go into our database template, I paste it, this whole section. Okay, they're dynamic lists. So let's go ahead and do this blog post template. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this stuff is not getting the text. So I can go ahead and change things if I need to. It's not getting a text. And this about blog post, I also can get rid of this. So none. And this is also none. And I believe now I can take this whole section. If not, I'll just try that again. I can go into this whole section. I can go into our database template again, and I can paste this in. No, I cannot. There's still some more stuff that has not been taken away. So let's go ahead and find our blog posts. I believe, okay, the picture is the issue. So I just hover over this, make sure nothing else. Perfect. Grab the section, go ahead to pages, go ahead to database template, and paste that into this page. Still not ready. Okay, let's go a bit more of a fine-tooth comb and figure out what's happening there. So let's go to blog posts. And let's go ahead into this section and see exactly what's in here. There's also an image at the top, which I didn't realize. Top contents, a blog about. Okay, there's the name here that also needs to be taken out. Rich text. Okay, now I think it should be good. Let's go ahead and see that. Let's paste this into this body. Perfect. So we have this whole section now, which is going to be really helpful for us to start using and start tagging into the right places. So we have the name, areas of competence. This is also going to be included inside a specific database or inside a specific product. I'll do that later. I think that one can be done later. Now we have this rich text, and if we go back into our collection list, this is where we can start adding a field for rich text for a description. So we can start, or not description rather, sort of detail. Okay, so we can start explaining what this is all about, and we can save that collection. And then what we can do is we can have this inside here. So let's save this as get text detail. Right now there's nothing there, that's perfectly fine. Again, this is where it's going to be useful later on to like have like an icon instead of the emoji, because then the icon can actually display something more useful there. I'm probably going to remove this dash in this text block just because this can probably be more useful elsewhere. I'm trying to think. Actually, it might be fine. It might be perfectly fine. Let me just show you what I might use in that situation. So what we can do here is we can make another collection list, like how I showed you before. So we're nesting a collection list inside a collection list. And what we can do here is we can add this right here. We can say this about section can be put inside this collection list wrapper. So first, let's get the source included in. We can throw this inside a collection list wrapper. Let's put that right into here. And then here we can get this text is the name, be intentional, right? Awesome. And then what we can do is hide this image for now. So let's go ahead and add the hide selector like I did before. Just hide it, simple as that. And then here what we can do is we can get another text, and this can be the price. Or maybe we can make this into the product's description price description. Perfect. So what is going to be really cool here is if I switch to something that has both, so let's say success plan has both, you can find it in both of them. So that's really, really cool. And you can see what you'll get specifically. I also want to hide this image at the top for now, just because I don't need this. Let's add a hide selector also on here. We're going to hide that. And then just as an example, I want to make sure that inside this database, we have some sort of content here. So let's add some more lorem ipsum. And just paste that into here. Let's save that. So perfect, there's some information there. Now what I want to also try, and this is the last thing I'm going to try before I end off the stream, I think it'll be just a bit interesting because the page is actually pretty simple. It doesn't need to be too complex. I wonder if we can make this into like a modal window. And if you're not familiar with what a modal window is, basically if I click on this, I'd like something to pop up. I'd like something to pop up instead of leading me to a whole new page. Because right now if I click this, like let's say I click on areas of competence, it leads me to a whole new page, right? Which is something that we saw earlier. It should lead me to a whole new page, rather. Let's go ahead and see what's happening there. So let's go ahead to this page. Leaderboard success plan. Okay. We need to scroll a little bit. That's interesting. That's a bit messed up there. We'll probably fix that later on. But basically, it leads us to a whole new page, right? Which is not what we want. So what we might want is something to pop up. So let me just Google that. So Webflow collection lists pop up on click. Let's see how this works. Let's see if this works. You can create a pop-up with the information you want to display. So let's see if this works. So this person has taken that down. Let's see. Okay, so people have tried to do this. I just want to make sure that this does work. Let's see what they were doing. This is actually pretty interesting. Let's I think if we can solve this will be pretty fun. So let's try. So I'm learning more. Very cool. So this is exactly what we want. If we click on this, it opens that specific item and then we can learn more. So let's take some liberties with this code and let's see how it works. Let's see why it works and let's see what we can do to take it with us. So from what I understand, they have these containers. So if I unhide that, what happens? Nope, that's not what I wanted. If I unhide that, okay, that doesn't do anything. That's fine. So what happens here is this button. Let's see what it does. It shows a modal. Okay, which modal does it show? It shows our modal wrap. So each item has its own modal wrap that pulls the information. Oh, that's so cool. Is this a collection list inside a collection list then? This is. No, no, no. This is the same collection list. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I see how this works. So basically they have a hidden modal that can unhide as I click it open. Okay, let's take this with us for a second. I don't think we can take it as is because again, we have the same problem as if it's already connected to someone else's collection list, we can't just copy and paste it, but I mean, we will still try. Yeah, doesn't work there. But what we can do here is just learn how they did it. So we have this modal. We have this modal hero. So let's see what that is. Modal hero has a certain height, columns, whatever. So I open this, it opens all this stuff, which is really, really cool, by the way. This is super cool. So I click on that, it opens the modal. Okay, I'll do a basic implementation of this and then I'll probably update this more on my own time. But what I want to show you is that this is perfectly viable and I wanted to show you the thought process and working process behind how I would go ahead and solve these problems. Because as we build these things as creatives, we're not going to know the answers immediately. And we're going to have to do some trial runs and tests and continuously work on it. So this is really why I like having these live streams because I show you the real process behind how I think through things and how I work through different options. So the first thing I want to do is add a button. So let's add a button to show more. And the best way to add a button is to copy a button from another page. So let's go ahead and just grab one of these buttons, go back into this page comparison and paste that. I believe I want a slim button, so I will probably change this up a little bit, but we have a button nonetheless. And let's throw in that right there at the bottom. I don't like it there to be very honest, but I'm pretty sure I can't have this in here either because it's a link element. So let's go ahead and add a footer anyway. Let's add a footer, or at least let's add some spacing. Okay, let's add some spacing. Some spacing will make sense. So button primary, I don't want large, so let's go ahead and take away. I want full width probably. Full width makes a lot of sense. I think this already solves the problem. Okay, so let's say learn more. Okay. And then what we can do in this learn more button actually looks pretty cute. I do like it. Anyway, in this learn more button, what we can do, actually one quick thing here, I am noticing that this needs to be a bit more. So let's add 23 to the top. 23 top so that it matches that. Perfect. So it's matching that pretty well. We have learn more. And then what we want to do in learn more, excuse me, is follow their lead on this. So what they did here was okay, let's do a modal first. Let's add a new modal. So a modal wrap is just a container. It's a fixed container. Then they have something that shows up on top, and believe that's 75% width and whatever is inside there. That's pretty cool. Okay, I get it. This is pretty simple actually. So let's go ahead and just build this pretty quickly. So let's hide all this stuff because what we want to do is add a new container right above that. Right above the card even actually. Oops, I don't want that container. I want a new div called the container. Still don't want that. I want a new div block. There we go. And then we're going to call this one modal. Let's call this one database modal. And this database modal, I believe we should be following database modal wrap. And then what we can do here is make this fixed and then zeros all around. So 0%, 0%. Actually, I think I would just click that. It'll work. Perfect. And then Z index should be 9999 because we want this to be above everything. Okay. And then what we want to do here is to make sure that it's hidden unless otherwise specified. I think in this case, it's fine. We don't need to hide it yet because we're still building on it. So what we're going to do is add another container inside this modal wrap. And again, I keep using the wrong thing. I don't want container, but I want a div block. So a div block inside this modal wrap, just like so. And then what I want to do here is I want to put it inside here. And what we're going to call is we're going to call this one our modal, or rather our database modal. And then what we have here is if I click on this item and I open up this modal has certain padding. So let's add 25 to everything. Padding, not margin. 25 padding, 25 padding. 25 and then 25 and then 75% width of the screen. And then I believe we can add a background color of white. So as a background color, let's make it a neutral color, just so I can differentiate it. And then we might also want to add a shadow. So that's a box shadow. And I just want to follow the shadow we have here because I don't like any shadows that are too crazy. So let's go ahead and just find out what shadow this is. So let's get out. Let's get out from that. I can't even click it because this is on top of everything. So let's hide that for a second. I want to grab the shadow here. So let's go into find this here. I believe the shadow's on the card. Okay, so there's a bunch of shadows there. I will just memorize that so I don't have to go ahead and I can't just copy and paste, unfortunately. But let me go into this modal wrap. Let's unhide that so I can see what I'm working on. And then what I want to do here is also have this in the center. So I believe what I can do is just in here add a margin auto on the sides, and that centers it. Perfect. And then what I also want to do is margin auto on top and bottom so that that centers that as well once I have content inside this page. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to make this into a proper box shadow. So let's call this outer shadow. We're going to use, I believe, 20 pixels, 34, 0. Black is going to be too much. I'm going to find out what color I used earlier later on. But let's go 4, 8, 0 as well. And then we're going to have 10, 34, 4, 0. So that already looks pretty bad. Let's hide this and let's see again what's happening here. So this card, okay, it's 180. They're all 180, I believe. Yeah. And then the color is this color value. So let's go ahead and use that instead. So let's show this again. So this is going to show our information. We have our database modal. It's going to be like this. So the color is not black, it's that instead. They're all 180. So let's do this. It's all 180. And then we're going to do this. It's all 180. Perfect. So it's looking pretty good. The box shadow. It is blue, so I might want to change the color later on and make it a bit more reddish. But that's something that I'll do later on. Again, it doesn't really matter right now. What I want to show you is that it works. So let's go ahead and just do the most basic version of this, which means I'm going to go into our categories template. Not categories, rather, sorry, this is the wrong thing. I want to go into our database template. And again, we had this really nice template here, which I'm now going to have to again strip for parts. But I actually, because we already have this inside our pages, inside this, I believe it was inside our blog post, I'm just going to take this section and I'm going to take this whole thing. I will take this whole thing and just see how it plays out. I probably will strip it down a lot more once I bring it into the other page. But once I have this now, I can go ahead into this section at the top and I can grab this modal and I can paste it inside here. Okay, section elements cannot be pasted inside each other. That's perfectly fine. I expected that. So let's do this one more time without taking the whole section because we don't need that. I only want this, but this is still a container, so that might still be an issue. But let's see. This should work though. So let's go ahead into here. Oops, let's go ahead into the comparison page. And then let's find this modal. Let's paste it into here. Perfect. So it's already showing up really well. What I really need this to do is to have a margin on the top and bottom, which is not doing. So I need to make sure that that's working well. I need this to be centered in the middle of the page. So let's see how I can do that. What if I did that? Perfect. Now it's centered in the middle of the page. And in here, I'm going to grab the text from the database. I'm going to get the name of the text. I'm going to grab this, and it should be grabbing the again, this stuff I can grab later, but this should be the which template it belongs to. I think this might have an issue because I'm not going to be able to grab everything. I'll talk about that later on. Let's get the text first, the detail page, the detail text. Okay, perfect. So now it's showing everything, right? One of the problems is that it's going to show every single modal that exists for every single page. So how did they solve that? Let's see, right? So right now what we have is the modal wrap completely is hidden. So let's go ahead and make the modal wrap completely hidden, just so that I am not so bombarded with all this information. And what happens here is, and let's just keep this pinned to the sidebar so I can have this on the side and read this. But basically, when I click on this button, I show a modal. So I show the modal wrap opacity. It's only siblings with this class. So let's go ahead and just copy this exactly because I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I'm not going to send it to a link, but rather what I wanted to do is have an interaction. So when clicking, I want to do a custom animation. So start, it's going to be a custom animation, open database modal. I'm going to start this animation by doing opacity. So opacity for the modal wrap. So class. I'm going to hide this database modal wrap. Opacity is going to be 0 at the beginning. Only siblings of this class. Okay. And then timing, I'm setting a 0 opacity. Okay. Add one more thing that's going to be a hide and show. So hide and show, again, is going to be a class. We're going to make this class our modal wrap. And for some reason, this didn't work. Okay, perfect. Modal wrap. And then this hide and show thing is going to do 0, 0, but it's going to do display inline block. Perfect. And then modal wrap opacity changes it to 0.5% to 100%. So that gives it a little of a fade in effect. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and add one more. Let's add a fade in effect. So opacity, this is within 5 seconds. So within 5 seconds, give me opacity is 100%. That's awesome. And I believe that's showing me a question mark because it doesn't have a value applied. So 100% is like so. So if I save this, let's see what happens. Okay, let's click on this. Let's tap on this and let's see what happens. If I open up this areas of competence, okay, nothing happens. Let's understand why. Okay, so the trigger is happening here. I have this button triggering. It's showing the opacity is 0, set as initial state. Yeah. And then hide and show, and then this shows the opacity of it. So this eases in. Let's also have this ease in. Again, I don't think it'll be a big difference, but let's just make sure that it's exactly as we're seeing this person. So ease, perfect. So 0, 0.5, siblings of this class, database modal wrap, hide and show. So this is going to show me a display of that. That's perfect. And then I'm going to save this again and let's see what happens. So their button is also not within the modal wrap, so that should make sense. We have a modal wrap here. Let me just hide and show a few more and let's see. So the things, it doesn't show behind it, right? So it does work well. Let's see. I see. So the button has that. Okay, wait, let's see. I'm done that. Modal wrap. Okay, no. So the button has the mouse click, show modal. And the modal wrap is currently hidden. And that's the only thing that governs this. It's currently hidden. Fill, I think that's useful. So let's go ahead and just make sure that this matches everything. It's currently hidden, right? and then the fit is fill, so everything looks about right. If I toggle preview and I click the other things, what happens? So let's also make sure this button doesn't actually have a link. So they're showing that it's showing a link instead. So the button should go to a link instead of a section. Let's see if that makes any difference. It does not make a difference. Okay, so I'm seeing that this actually has a different link here. Oh no, it's still a hashtag, which means that it's linking nothing. Very interesting. Let's see a bit more about how it works, and then we're going to call our live stream at that point. But thank you all for joining so far. I think it'll be really interesting to see it completely solved. So let me unhide this for a second and let's see what happens. So if I unhide that, yes, things are popping up. That makes sense. I'm now trying to make this link into, so this button, maybe it's because it was within that card. No, within the card should be fine. Let's see. Oh, that was the solve. Okay, so I can show the modal. Oh, okay, interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I kind of get what happened there. Okay, let's go back to comparison. Um, okay, I kind of get what's happening. Let's go and show the modal window and then let's see what's happening there. So tab content, tab pane. So many things in here. Okay, modal wrap. So if I show this, right, I believe everything in here. Okay, let's take away this element animation for now because I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's interfering. Let's take away all this zoom in and stuff. Okay, and then now let's hide this whole thing just like we did before so that we have the show on hide situation going on. And I believe if I click that, it still doesn't work. So let's do one more thing. I'm curious if I put it inside the card, what happens? Okay, so it works if it's inside the card. You can see that that does work. Okay, we're getting close. So I think the issue is that the button is inside the card. So I need to take out the button from inside the card. And let me just put the button right there just as an example. I just want to see. Okay, I got it. This perfectly works. Okay, so this button just needs to be outside the card. Otherwise, the card will encapsulate everything. So that's actually very, very interesting. I think instead of fixed position, then this could be absolute position. Let me just double check that. I think that that does work. Yeah, okay. It becomes absolute position. And then if that becomes absolute position, then I can have everything in here as well. I will explain that CSS decision in a second. Don't worry. If you're confused about what the heck just happened there, I will explain that in its full detail. Don't worry. Oh, they're not in the same place again. Let's put this inside the card. Okay. Oh, that still does that. So absolute 0, 0, 0, 0 fixed puts it still inside. Okay, let me double check how they did it because I'm pretty sure they put it outside as well. Oh, the learn more button is actually on the outside. Okay, fine. I think it's fine. We'll have the button on the outside. So let's just undo some things. We'll move the button to the outside. Um, let's put that outside here. I can nest it in there later. Don't worry about that. I'll fix that later. But yeah, so for now, I can already start opening it up. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is just to make sure that I can hide it later on. So let's go ahead and make sure I can do that. Let's go ahead and grab that modal. And whenever I click on the modal, which is anything on the outside, I want it to hide the box. So right now they don't even have this feature, I believe, in the example that we're taking from. If I click this, it doesn't hide. I have to click the X, right? So what I can do here is I can improve on that design. So basically what happens is I can make it so that the close modal gets triggered on the whole thing. So let me add a new animation here. So if they click on the wrap itself, I'm going to do a mouse click and it's going to start an animation, a custom animation. I'm going to call it close database modal. And then I'm going to open this opacity. And again, this one is setting a 0.5 seconds to 0. So anything of the class, all elements of this class, only parents of this class. And then 0.5 ease into 0. And the other one is the hide and show. So we can just make it a hide. So again, I make a new thing, hide and show. And then we just simply make this into hide. And let's see if that works. I click learn more. I click outside, it hides. Perfect. Very, very cool. This shouldn't be all the way down here. So let's fix that just to see how we can change that. Oh, interesting. So if I click on here, nothing happens. But if I click on the side of this, okay, I know exactly what's happening there. So let's also fix that just a little bit. So it's because I have this as auto. I think this one needs to be 0. This one needs to be 0. Let's go ahead and see how that plays out. So if I click on this, okay, so let's play this around with this a little bit more. Oh, so this is absolute. If I make this fixed, I think that solves it. Yeah, there we go. Fixed solves it. So there we go. That solves that. And the last thing I want to do is just put back my autos on the top and the bottom, which makes it perfectly centered. And let's go ahead, learn more. That works well. Learn more. That works in the center here. So everything works pretty well. I like it a lot. And yeah, basically this is a very interactive page that we can now have as we switch between, all databases, be intentional, gamify our life. You'll be able to expand this, and obviously you can do more of this later on as well. But I really want to show you like the thought process and building blocks behind doing something like this. Hopefully you learn more about how collection lists inside Webflow work, maybe a little motivation to work on your own little passion projects whenever you have the time. But yeah, like things like this are super simple, and as you can see, like solving problems is it's a pretty fun endeavor, I think. At least I really like it. And in case you also want to know how to solve this problem to make the card encapsulate the whole thing, basically the way to solve that would be, I guess I'll just talk it through and then you guys can do it on your own time. But you can see how we have this no decoration thing, right? Which basically adds the database content, which adds the border and everything. What we could do here is we can make this link rather. Actually, this might be pretty easy. So I'm going to take this whole database content. I'm going to put this outside of this, right? And then I believe what happens is, oops, wait, where is the okay, the card is the thing that controls everything. Sorry, let me go back into the card. So the card controls everything, and the card right now is the thing that is I need to have on the top level. But that doesn't directly work as well because then everything gets wrapped together with it. The issue is that we don't want it to be inside. Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I'm not 100% sure the best way to go about this actually. For anyone who's curious on the actual problem here, it's because the modal is being generated from inside this wrapper. And therefore, if I have the button and the modal inside this card, whenever I click on it, it will open up inside this small little window, which doesn't make sense. I need it to be opening in the big window throughout the whole screen. Right now, it's considering that to be its window. And the moment that I have anything that encapsulates that, it's also going to be an issue there. So I think the only thing we can do here is to fake this button to be inside here and probably remove the hover animation just so that we can have this as a more intuitive way to open. Or actually, a cooler way to solve this problem, that I think you guys might like actually. Hey, I think I have a much cooler way to solve this problem. Mouse click, and then I make the action start an animation. Let's pull up the most recent one, open. And then I click save. So let's X that. And let's delete this button entirely. I believe this works too. Oh, that's what I want. Sorry. Let's go back to the page comparison. I believe if I just click that. Okay. That works well, really well. Okay, let me go ahead and remove the other link because we don't need that anymore. So let's go ahead and remove this link. So I don't need this link, so no decoration. Let's just remove this link completely. Perfect. So everything I open now works. Perfect. So this is a much better solution. So like I promised at the beginning, we have a dynamic page that shows you a dynamic comparison diagram that shows you all your different databases, whether you're working on your areas of competence, whatever, right? Think of it as all your minute little components of a bigger product page. And then you can also fine tune to the individual ones, and you can also open them as you see fits. The same thing can happen there. But basically, as you open them, you can read more information about them, and you can basically go in depth and understand it a lot more. And yeah, hopefully that made sense to everybody. Thank you for everybody who followed along, and really happy to have done this stream with you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We have lots of content coming up soon, so do stay tuned. Take care and have a very good rest of your evening or rest of your day if you're in the Asian or European time zones. Take care. Bye, guys.